Deanna's time. All right, guys, welcome to our team call. It's July 15th. I am so excited about our guest tonight, and I am thrilled to share her with you guys tonight. First of all, a couple things. Number one, hopefully you've all seen this, but we have a major rank advancement on our team tonight, and we want to celebrate. She can't be here tonight. She's at her son's basketball game, but please, please get online and celebrate and congratulate. Send cards to Ann Baranti for hitting 5-star. She worked her tail off and made it happen. She told us all about it on the executive mastermind call today. I will get her and do an interview, and when the emotion wears down for her, because it's very emotional for her right now, I want her to share her story with you. She hit every major roadblock you could imagine and then some this week. I mean, big, big stuff. Where most people would have quit and given up on their goal, she didn't, and it's super inspiring. So we'll get her on and we'll share that with you, but please celebrate her. Celebration is getting closer and closer. I know a lot of people have free tickets that they are wanting to give away. So if you guys have brand new people that are interested, let's get them there. We can put a lot of people in a room. We can get an Airbnb, make it cost effective, but if you can get your people to this event, their business can change, and that will change your business. So it is such a, I mean, when I say sense of urgency to get people there, it is such a huge, huge priority. So each day, guys, reach out to people and invite people. You never know. You might invite someone that you're thinking would never go in a million years, and they might just love it. They might love having a girls' weekend, a guys' weekend. They might love, just getting away from their family and having a little bit of a break, and then something triggers when they hear all of the excitement on stage, and it's a big, big game changer for them. So keep plugging that. Team party, we're so excited. Lisa Maciel posted something special that apparently there's going to be 5 new product releases. That's the most they've done in a long time. 5. She probably has a guess on them, so I don't know. But guys, you want to be there. We get first dibs on seeing the products, buying the products, taking them home. It's so exciting. So you want to be there, and you want to be registered for our party. And I haven't done a great job telling you guys what the theme is. We put it out there a little bit, but Randy Whitaker messaged me today, and it reminded me to let you guys know we're doing a combination denim and white. So we don't want you to have to buy anything. Mix your denim, mix your white. If you've got a whiteout dress that from last year you want to wear again, wear different jewelry. For the guys, wear a different shirt with your white shorts. Denim and white, we thought that'd be a great, easy combination. We're going to take some great team pictures, and we can't wait to see you at the team party. Prices did go up today for tickets. So if you did not purchase your ticket today, they did go up. Search in the business group for team party and get signed up. We don't want you to miss that. And don't miss our business training on Thursday night. We're doing a mini super Saturday just for you. It's for everyone, brand new people, seasoned people. It's going to be a phenomenal training. We don't want you to miss it. So be sure from 6 to 9 Eastern, you're plugged in. We may finish by 8:30, but we want to block that time. It will be recorded for people that have to work, but we'd love you to be on live because we want your feedback, your comments, and we really want that engagement. There's nothing better than being on a live call. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend Deanna, and I'm going to tell you guys, I met her at a Top Achievers event, my very first one that I went all by myself, and she was one of the friends I made, and we hung out, and I've gotten to hear her story a few times. It is so heartwarming, and I'm going to have her share a little bit about that with you, because I know a lot of you know who she is, but there's some new people that have no clue about Deanna, what she's done, and how Isogenics has changed her family's life. But before we start, Deanna, I didn't tell you this, and I hope you're going to not be mad at me, but
Okay.
I'm sharing a little quick snip
Uh-oh.
of one of the reasons why I love you so much. So I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, this is great. This is so great. And they're going to love it. All right. I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second here. All right. Let me find it. Do you want to build a business? You could be a millionaire.
You can travel anywhere. I'll teach you how to share. We'll be a power pair. There's really nothing to it. It's just me and you. Plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Do you want to build a business? Doesn't have to be a business. Okay. Do you want to build a business? Spend our days out in the mall. My next enrollment's overdue. I started talking to the pictures on the wall. Oh, it gets a little lonely with this empty pie, just watching the hours tick by. Elsa, please, I know you're in there. People are asking where you've been. They say have courage, and I'm trying to. I'm right out here for you, just let me in. There's really nothing to it, it's just me and you. Plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Oh. Do you want to build a business?
All right, guys. Now, I don't know about you, but that floored me. I loved it. She's got so many great things like that. And that is one of the million things I love about her. Isn't that awesome? What do you guys think? Are y'all loving that? It was just amazing. All right, girl. So let's start. And I didn't read your bio yet, so let me do that super quick. Super quick. Because I want to give you the proper introduction. She is a 4-star Crystal Executive, 7-star Golden Circle. She's earned President Quest. She is Women of Isogenics Rising Star, Rank Advancement Award winner, top achiever, leader of a team in Isogenics of mission-minded business builders called Adoptogenics, wife to Mark, mom to 7 kids, and 5 internationally adopted. So when you use the term no excuses, this woman, I mean, if she can do this with 7 kids, you guys, and all that she's got on her plate, you all can too. So without further ado, girlfriend, thank you for joining us tonight.
I'm so excited to be here, Cindy. It's funny because I had forgotten about that video, and I had made that for one of our Cepeda event, after one of our Cepeda events. And what the other thing that many people within Isogenics don't know about me is that years ago, I was a Disney princess. I sang as a Disney princess. So this is a long time after. And so I thought I would kind of just, put that together to kind of, just for a little humor. But it also, what better song to do that for? So
Absolutely. So I'd love you to start, for those that don't know you, share a little bit about your story in the early days, how you found Isogenics and what it's done for your family before we go into some coaching and some training and tips.
So the first thing that I'll say is that honestly, I built my business just on raw passion. And really, I didn't know when people would say, get in touch with your why, what that meant, because I didn't know the network marketing lingo, but that's how I built my business. And I started in 2013. As Cindy said, I have a very large family. I have 5 children that we adopted internationally and then 2 by birth. And at my background was in entertainment, but our business had really slowed down and my family was really struggling intensely financially. We had a huge house that I had owned, but we were behind on the mortgage because we had burnt through our savings. I was passionate for adoption. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel with my other job. In other words, my business that I had in entertainment with the New York City band. It was a great band, by the way. We did a lot of big events, but my heart was really pulled to kind of living a life with purpose. and I adopted these kids and I wanted to be with them. But my resume, Cindy, was like, okay, former singing Disney princess and a New York City band leader. I had a lot of experience, but it was so nichey and so unique that you couldn't just transfer that to some other place, right? So I ended up really wanting to get involved in adoption. But my family was just struggling. I didn't know what to do. I had adopted 5 kids in a relatively short amount of time. I had gained a lot of weight, and it was really, if I focus really in on the last adoption that was in 2011, we went to Ukraine to adopt a little boy named Alec, who was labeled invalid at birth. And I have to tell the backstory to kind of emphasize the miracle of what Isagenix has been to me. But we went to adopt him. People ended up giving us money, and somehow we raised the funds. And when we got there, the people told us, we're really happy you came, because we were about to send him to an internat, because he was 5 years old, where children as healthy as him would be dead within 6 months of going there. And I tell that story because we were so hesitant to even extend ourselves to him. And yet we did extend ourselves. We were willing to even go more broke to save him, because I felt like his life in America, even if it was bad, because we were struggling, would be so much better than him being put on the street and being trafficked or on drugs or whatever. So we adopted him 2011 to 2013. Things got worse. We came home and we're just trying to make ends meet. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel and go back to New York City and keep doing these gigs. My husband was working a day job. We were on the poverty grid. My kids qualified for the food, the school lunches. I had to be convinced to take Medicaid because I didn't have insurance for my kids and couldn't afford it. A nice social worker was like, look, this is what it's for. You've worked for so many years. We were struggling with potential foreclosure. And the worst part, and this is where Isagenix kind of comes in, was that I was having to supplement our food with like food that had been rejected from, it had been sent from the grocery stores to the food pantry, and whatever the food pantry didn't want, I got to pick from. And so I'm supplementing our diet with this food for these kids. 5 of them had been from what we call childhood experiences. 3 of my children from Ethiopia and eating, like their gut was all messed up. So now here I adopt them, but I'm eating them expired birthday cake breakfast. And so between like 2011, halfway into 2011, moving to 13, time that I all weirdly became an expert on nutrition. I mean, I had some background with nutrition, but I was just wanting, okay, is my internet off a little bit? Are you good? Okay. I was wanting to feed them better food. And I started to research about gut health, and especially the immune issue that my youngest son in Ukraine had, and which knowing about the best that should have, especially orphans. So I remember crying through my poverty because I wanted to buy a pair of sneakers for my kids. I remember crying out for a miracle. And it was literally within days that somebody introduced me to Isagenix, but I was hesitant because it was network marketing and I hadn't done network marketing, but I remembered this prayer: dear God, scour the universe for an opportunity to change our lives. I want to work in adoption. I want to work in a situation where, I can learn from people, but they can respect me. I'll stay here in the desert, but you are the God who brought people out of the desert to the mountaintop. I mean, I got really specific with this prayer. And so when this opportunity came, I was like, convicted, because I realized I was hesitant with everything, and yet there was this strong feeling like, wait, you just had a snotty prayer. Do not ignore this opportunity coming to you. So I said yes, but I had to borrow money. Like, people, I was so broke, I couldn't buy a pair of $40 shoes. And so what I did was I had an account for a gig with my musicians that was coming up 6 months later. And I borrowed money from deposits to pay for this value pack. And then I knew somehow I needed to pay them back because I would never stiffed my musicians. I hadn't even been paying myself. I'd been just paying them, getting travel expenses paid for it, and going and doing my gigs. And so I ended up introducing this to a friend who had 15 kids, and then another friend who had 8 kids that she had adopted. And I realized in that moment, wow, I know my kids could use this, but look, we were all stressed out moms from adopting all of these kids, many through some really vulnerable situations, and many who really needed to adapt. So the parents were stressed out and gaining weight and not as healthy. The kids definitely were. They all had gut issues because they were all either older or special needs. And then on top of that, a light bulb went off in my mind, and I'm like, whoa. We've been spending time always trying to raise funds, pennies here and there for adoptions. And then when they come home, nobody has money and they're broke like me. They came home and I hit rock bottom. So wait, there's a compensation plan here. So I formed this group called Adoptogenics, and it just really took off. And then I earned like $100,000 in 6 months. I earned the President's Quest, as you mentioned, and then in 3 years, I became the 200th millionaire. That's the short story. Obviously, the miracles in my team and just really being passionate about what this does and being able to articulate what these products and the opportunity can do to your specific niche. I mean, I think I'm really great building a business when I'm passionate. Through this process now, it's been 6 years, I have been kind of pulled into kind of all of a sudden losing my identity at times, feeling like I'm more of a network marketer, having to dial it back to say, I am a network marketer, I'm a proud network marketer, but I'm also somebody who is driven by passion more than anything. And so I have to stay in my lane. And so I'm kind of really great at being able to get people into what it is that their passion is. And some people, it could be, that they're marathon runners. Other people, it could be that they want to help people in trafficking or they're in ministry or whatever. But we've been able to kind of really get into that. And then as long as I'm kind of staying in this area, then I do really well. And so I just love this company, and I love that it can be so many different things to so many different people. There's so much flexibility. I've watched them, I call it jazz, Cindy, because I have these musician references. Because with jazz, it's sort of like, you're trying to perfect a song, and it's sort of like you're trying things out. Sometimes it's great music, and then other times it's like, we need to check this out again. But here's $1 billion company willing to take risks constantly. It's sort of like being in the middle of a really great creative process. And for me, as somebody, who attracts musicians and attracts people in adoption, I really like seeing that, because I feel that their fluidity and their willingness to look at themselves and make changes so that we grow is so exciting. And then I love their audacious belief that they say we can be the best and the largest. And, that is something else that I love to run with. I love people who think out of the box and companies who think out of the box. And so that's where I am now. And now, final end of the story though, is that I had been living in North Carolina, and you saw Cindy started with me doing a spoof on a Disney tune, but I really wanted to, when I was earning President's Quest, I said to the kids, just give me a little bit more time to work really hard, and I'll take you on a trip to Disney. And it ended up that I took them on a trip to Disney, but I also moved the entire family to be right next to Disney World, and we have annual passes. We live in a resort. And we're having the time of our lives. So that's the story there.
What a blessing. And honestly, one of my favorite things about Isogenics is it can be that vehicle for people to achieve all of their dreams, not just Isogenics goals and dreams. And I've always said that to my team. I care so much more about just their health, just their wealth. I just want them to be happy, fulfilled, and living out their dreams. And Isogenics can be that vehicle for all of that. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, we've definitely had, this industry is full of very, very highs and lows. And I've always told people, you've got to be able to ride them out. You know, don't get the high, don't let the highs just get you so high that when you have a low, you're like, you know, cashed out of the game. Be able to ride the waves. You've got to be able to ride the waves in this industry. So let's talk a little bit about that. Have you had any? You know, what's been your biggest challenge to overcome?
You know, Cindy, I think that's such a great question. And everybody here is so lucky to kind of hear, you know, hear the answers to that, because we oftentimes think that if we're having a slump, that it's just us, you know. And so I've definitely had, let's say, character building seasons within this company. And mainly, I mean, what many of you probably don't want to hear is that that it was very easy for me at first. Like, it really was like, honestly, there was one time that my friend and I were, because my friend Carolyn became the 195th millionaire. She was the first person I enrolled with the 15 kids. And in the beginning, it was so funny. It was like, we had so many leads that we were like, do you want to take this one? I'll take that. Cause we had similar friends. Right. And we would say things like, is it normal to be like enrolling like 2 or 3 people every day for like 2 months? And I'm like, I don't think it is. Like, we were so like ignorance on fire that it was just, and it was like dynamics. So the character building part of it is really when you realize that it is work. And, you know, and I was really good at understanding naturally from the beginning, but it was more how, if I'm building this on social media, how do I become a much more well-rounded face-to-face networker, which actually helped by having some good examples. Like Herb and Patty Cepeda are like 3 levels up from me. I eventually met them, and then I was on a trip, my first stop at Cheapers, and I just walked with them into the beach. They were talking to everybody, and I realized that I'm great with conversations, but I'm not great with effective, pointed, goal-oriented conversations. We connect with them, but let's make sure, because I think I'm frozen. You guys seeing, or is it Cindy that's frozen?
I'm not sure.
So if it's Cindy that's frozen, I'll just keep talking.
Yeah,
So
I hear you, but it's gone in and out a little bit. All right, hang on here.
away, and so I'm not going to stop. And so it can, for those of you who kind of like maybe starting or been around a little bit, and you're like, wait, you know, my cycles were here, now they're down there. I had this many consultants, now I have this many consultants. You know, you just have to remember that it's work, and it's an opportunity to be refined in the process and really, really grow. So yes, I've had my ebbs and flows. Yes, it's been easy at times and very hard at times, but I try to be positive and I try to tweak things. And I think many of us who are in this business with Isogenics specifically, and we've seen them change things, we have to realize that we have to be malleable too. And so, you know, I'm just a work in progress, just like all of you. And so hopefully that that helps. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, there's Cindy.
Well, I'm here, and sorry about that. You know,
I think once I figured out that you were frozen and I wasn't, then I just kind of kept talking.
Yeah, when I lost you for a second, I thought the whole call might have been lost, and
no,
not at all. So good.
You came back at the perfect time. Yeah. We were talking about the waves.
Yeah, I heard most of it, and what I want to add to that is, you know, it happens to all of us. So a lot of newer people think it's just happening to them. And it doesn't. It happens to all of us. I mean, I've always shared, gosh, I have had and still have sip and samples or events where little to no people show up. And I always want my newer people to know that, so they know it's not just them, and we all have these ebbs and flows. But one thing you said that I totally relate to is it is a time to do some refining. And so in this last year, when I was personally, my cycles were down and my rank advancements were down, I took that opportunity to change some things I was doing.
Yeah.
I started going back to networking events. I got on LinkedIn. I started using that as a platform. I started reaching out to a lot more people and figuring what can I tweak and change that I have control over to try to, make things shift. So I think, as you guys get more skilled in this and become better and better leaders, it's going to come easier for you to make those changes and see them coming, make the changes, and that's great. So what are some things, you also said you had a positive attitude, so that may be part of your answer here. What are some things that you've done to overcome the ebbs and flows, and where are you at now? And then I'm going to ask you something about the future. So let's start with some of the things you've done.
A mindset tweak for me. I mean, I've been married a long time. I've had a very successful relationship with my husband for like 30 years, right? So, and I bring this up because marriage isn't always easy, right? And so I think I always use this really funny phrase to people in the beginning, like, prospects or whatever, or potential customers, as some people call them, rather than prospects. But I'll say, look, it's not like I'm telling you to marry it, you just try it out like you're dating it. And then like you can return it if you don't. Sometimes I'll say that to them, but then I'll also say, but you may find the love of your life, right? You may find the thing. And I kind of had that attitude. But when you find that thing, it's not like all of a sudden everything is always just you're in that rhythm. Like my husband now, when the kids go off, we have a bunch of teenagers and I'm like, we are so good. It's like this, I'm going to pick up so-and-so. It's like this dance when you have a lot of kids. And I bring up the marriage thing regarding the business because you have to decide, like, are you making a commitment? Sometimes it's just a decision. It's like, am I willing to stay here during this rough time? And am I willing to work it out? And working it out sometimes means checking in with the other person and, trying to help them figure their thing out. But it also means figuring out like you said, like, what am I doing wrong? What am I thinking about? And so I made a commitment. And look, I've seen a lot of things and heard a lot of things and gone through some things and at the end of the day, it's like and again, I have to go back to my faith, but it's like I really believe that God gave me this business, and if He gave me that business and I don't feel released from that and I feel committed to it, then I'm going to do the work. And the work may look a little differently for some of us. For me, it's doing the do, like Cindy said, like, calling the people, checking in with your LinkedIn or your Facebook or whatever. But also for me, because I am a little bit different, and obviously people aren't going to replicate this, but I had to go back to my advocacy piece because that's what draws people in. So I'm very much an advocate in many different things regarding children and regarding, my faith. And so I'm very involved in circles like that, which has actually helped me to kind of be more motivated in Isogenics. So I consider myself a marketplace minister. And if I kind of know that's what this is for me, and that's how I operate within it, then it helps me. And then if I start to really understand that I need to lean into other people's why or purpose, which is what we need to do at those interviews and those meetings, when we get them set up, whether we do Zoom call or whatever your welcome call setup is, but find out what their thing is. And I feel, to be totally honest, I feel like the emphasis on your why here within Isogenics and in network marketing in general has been downplayed in the past 2 or 3 years, where in the beginning we always talked about it. And for me, it's really relevant. So I don't know. I just say for me, the thing that I do is I remember that this is a commitment. This is the love of my life for me, as far as the business is concerned.
That's great. Awesome. All right. So what I'd love to hear from you are some of your tips. What would be things that you've learned over the last seven years, right? That you feel could really help our team.
Okay. So this is probably something you haven't even heard, Cindy, before, but I want to first talk to the people who consider themselves free spirit people, like you kind of go with the flow, because that's, oftentimes I'll talk about colors and that, but I'm really talking about people who almost have a pride issue of, well, I'm just kind of going with the flow, because that's me, right? So I need to bring this up, because I bring this up with my team too, that just because we identify ourselves as being like type A or a free spirit or whatever, does not mean that we can't morph into something else. So I bring this up because I've had to refine myself into understanding that if I'm like a free spirit, that I need to schedule, it sounds funny, but I need to schedule my free spirit time and still be consistent with the things. Do the basics. I go back to the jazz thing. If you're playing a song, you need to know the song and you need to know the chords and you need to all know that you're playing the same song. Otherwise it's going to sound really bad and you're not going to be united. So regardless of whether you think you're a free spirit or your style is this or that, do the basics. Make sure that you are reaching out to people, whether that's on LinkedIn, whether that's on Facebook. Do some social media stuff, not just posting, making sure you're reaching out to your top 15, 20 lists, your hot list, and then the rest of them. I'm on LinkedIn too. I'm just starting to explore this a little bit more. So I do that. And then also challenge yourself to go out and actually have conversations with people. It sounds so basic, but Cindy, I know you came from a network marketing background, but I didn't. I did have experience in sales with selling my own entertainment packages in New York, but I literally was like, whoa, you mean I have to talk to people? And when so make sure you're actually talking to people, check that off, and basically go through the list of the leadership and action formula that I did not even know I was hitting all the marks, and I became the number 3 top millionaire in action, because they used to call it that in 2014. And then I was like, number 10 or 15, the 10 or 12 the next year of the top 15. So if you need to at least enroll 5 people, if you want to rank advance people, if you that you need to really stay consistently at your rank in order to get those points. And when I was doing it, you had to also build your 4 PETs. So that was part of the formula. So if you can abide by that, have basics, know the song, know the chords, have the basics of the foundational principles, do that, make sure you're doing that, and then if you need to be like me, I'm a writer, I'm a blogger, I'm a musician, then go ahead and do that. But what is going to finance that? What monetizes that? Make sure that you are doing this job and honoring it and respecting it enough, because it is the best opportunity out there for you to cash in on some amazing residual income with a product, with a line of products that actually helps to serve people, and a diverse and wide range of products. It's just, so basically have the foundational principles be first, do that thing first. It's sort of doing your work, building your team that way. And then obviously coaching your team as well. But, be very aware. The other thing that I will say too, though, is also to be really careful about being that person that never graduates from school. I remember I have friends who always consistently went to college, but never did the job. Yes, we have a lot of training. We have so much training coming at us, and it's so good. But I got to a point once where I had to say, sorry, not that one, not that one, not that one. I'm going to do this, this, and this, because I can't sit here and just consume. We need to produce. We're all producers. We can't consume on Facebook so much by just taking in. We have to produce. And so that means that you may be taking in the training, but if you're taking in so much training that it's prohibiting you from going out and talking to people or doing your work, skip the training. You already know, So that would be, certain advice, maybe not for people just starting out, but be really aware. I tell my people when they're overwhelmed from some of the information from the trainings, and maybe then they have, the national training and then the local training, and then there's the Zoom calls. And I'm like, look, as long as you know the basics, everything else take as really excellent suggestions, and then decide what works for you and apply them.
That's great. Also, I have another question. It came in as a private message to me, and it was on my radar for you, because I think one of the things that you do so well will inspire everyone, and also give us all, like I said in the beginning, no excuses to be able to work this business. How on earth have you managed to build this business around such a large family? Like what kind of structure have you had to have? Do you have office hours? Do you have certain hours you can work your business in between all of your kids and their activities and doctor appointments and everything on your plate? Because I can't even imagine. I have four and they all played sports, and I you know, at times I look back now and I'm like, how did I ever do that? And I was not near as busy with my last business as
Yeah.
I am now. So share a little bit about that, because I think that will really
Okay.
help the people that work, the people that are doing this full time. It will really inspire everyone.
So it was actually easier at first. Now that they're like teenagers, because when we started, the ages were like 7, 6, 7, 7, 8, 10. I can't even think of all, but on up to like 20 something. Now it's 13, 14, 16, 17. I have two 21-year-olds, so I have 5 in the house. And then I have my son, my 21-year-old who's in Los Angeles. And then I have my oldest daughter who's 27 and married in Colorado. So you would think that with teenagers, it would be actually easier because now they're out, they're doing it. It's my husband and I were talking about this the other day. It's almost like having toddlers because there's so much more activity to do. So I'm just putting that out there. So do I have office hours? It's the summer right now. So it's really, really hard. I constantly am like, we'll go out at this amount of time. I'm constantly managing expectations. Does that mean that I have full out hours during the school year? I do. The summer is harder. And like I said, I tend to be a really free spirit. I'm working really hard at challenging my own perception of myself. So I am creating more hours of workspace. I tend to be like this person that likes to move my office. Like I'll move, I'm at this table now, then I'll move it over here. And that has not worked for me, right? But then I've also set up desks, and then I don't sit in the desk. So I'm trying to just really learn from that. But you know, I talk to my kids a lot, and again, you hear this expression, but it's really, really true. Don't make them your excuse, make them your reason. And so I just like, if I'm out with my kids, I'll talk to people. In fact, it's almost more of a challenge because sometimes you can think, oh my gosh, I got to stay home and do some work. But the truth is that when my daughter, for example, my daughter Matea had like a going away party for one of her friends, and all of the parents came and I went because she really wanted me to go. That was more of a business opportunity than if I had sat down at home and said, well, I need to make sure that I'm going through my reports and I'm making because it was really more of an organic, you know, let's get to know each other. So I think we need to be aware of it. So I use the opportunities that I have with my kids to be able to, you know, to get my work done. But that line that I said, managing expectations and communication, is so key. Because my kids, especially if you have kids who have been adopted older, like, you know, 4 of them were adopted over the age of 5, and even into now that they're like 20 or something, there's a sense of security for them to know that you're telling them what is going on. So I constantly am giving them expectations. So I will definitely spend I spend my morning like praying, going through some affirmations, doing some kind of some statements really as far as what I'm expecting in my business. And then from there, you know, I will do some reach outs on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and then I'll kind of get them all together. We'll maybe go to the gym or we have a clubhouse here, and I'll meet people. Then we kind of have more of like, when I talk about having like scheduled go with the flow time, they may have something that they have to do, but then I'm like, my go with the flow time can mean doing something that I'm enjoying or running an errand. But even during those errands, you know, I'm doing things, but I would have already had sort of the foundational stuff done. And then at night, I'll do things like this, you know, after dinner, sporadically, not every single night, especially in the summer, during the years, like, and now I know the cycle too of this business too. So there's certain times like after celebration, we'll be like, you know, like really at a high, and like leading up to it probably as well. So, you know, and then I do have the perspective that like, I don't want this business to take away from the reason that I'm doing it. So I have some really strong leaders who maybe have backed down a little bit of the intensity level of their work. They're still doing well, but now they have a house with chickens and pigs and, by the beach, and, they're enjoying things. So I make a point of making sure that I'm enjoying this. Otherwise, that can go into your work and you can be like frustrated that you're not really living out, let's say, the advertisement and postcard of what people tell you this business is. They'll say you have the time freedom. They'll say you have this and that, but you're not always living that way.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think one of the things you said earlier too is just so important, that you've got to be in action. So that whatever time you have that you can put into this business, some people work really, really well when they are setting up schedules and they have office hours and all of that. But other people have to do things kind of, flying by the seat of their pants in between activities. So you've got to figure out what works best for you. What works for Deanna, it may not work for me. It may not work for you. You've got to figure that out. And then you've got to get into action and put everything into action. So I love that. That's great. All right. I have taken up so much of your time. I could ask you a bunch more questions, and I'm sure everybody else would love that too. What I would love is, as we would part ways here, any words of inspiration that you want to share, moving into celebration with the future, what's coming, before we close the call?
I guess I would just want to tell people, please do not give up hope, and don't ever, my dog's just starting to bark. I just made this post, and I think it's important for all of us. My son, Jared, is a junior Olympian, and he had 3 races at the nationals this week. And this is relevant for me to answer this question. The first 2, he's already qualified for junior Olympics, but he just did awful. And after every race that he kind of went under his personal record, he just beat himself up. It was like, I'm the worst. I'm going to quit. I'm never doing this again. I'm awful. And then he ran a 3rd race, which was the steeplechase, which he's never run in his life. And he qualified for that race as the top 6 in like the nationals. And I bring this up because I had a conversation with him. I'm like, look, we're talking about tweaking things, but this does not mean that you're not great. You're just trying to be better, And so I think that a lot of us have this inner dialogue and we don't share it. We have an inner dialogue. Are you hearing me okay? Because I think I might have frozen. We have this inner dialogue that's negative, and we berate ourselves and we just beat ourselves up, and it doesn't serve us. And just be aware of that voice. And then on top of that, then understand also that please don't isolate yourself thinking, well, I'm the only one. I'm going to tell you, I remember, like Cindy had an example where she's like, I've had my rough times. I remember Cindy and I having a little bit of an eye contact. I can't remember exactly if it was just last year this time or before, where we're like, we're both struggling a little bit. And we have to reach out to each other because it's encouraging. And that's why I love that she asked that question about the ebbs and flows, because about, like, if you're just coming into something for just the all of the rank advancements and this and that and all of the accolades, and really not for the long ride, for the long term, for that type of commitment, then you're not really going to benefit as much. Like, really just focus on that, and then understand that you are not alone, and share with people. Like, I bet if you're kind of insulating something or you haven't necessarily expressed, like to Cindy or somebody close to you, that the minute you say, I don't know, this from having a problem too, because so-and-so is doing really great. Maybe we could call them and see, because I'm struggling too. Like, just, have a self-confidence. And it is really true that you could do better than Cindy. You really could. Like, you can crush your business and take it so far out and she will be applauding that. She will be loving that, but you really could. It's not about, like, when you come in, I mean, you have the opportunity with this compensation plan to just crush it.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, I adore you. Thank you so much. It's been so fun to watch your journey and watch what Isagenix has done for your precious family. And Can't wait to continue to watch you grow and blossom and see you in Nashville in just a little bit. And guys, I hope you found a lot of value in tonight's call, and I hope it was very inspiring for you, because the bottom line is, if Deanna can do it with the busyness of 7 children and all she has, if I can do this, if we can do this, that absolutely means that you can do this too. We believe in you, we love you, and we really want to see this for you. And there's nothing I'd love more than to see every single one of you supersede what I've done. So, oh, Deanna, thank you so much for helping us out and pouring
Thank you,
into my
guys.
tonight.
It's a pleasure. And also thank you for making me chuckle a little bit with that video that I had.
Oh, I loved it. I thought, what a great way to kick this off. I looked and looked. It took me a while to find it, but I did. So, all right. Now
All
I
right.
have to deal with my car battery died because we were trying to keep ourselves cool because it's raining outside. So I'm telling you, this is just, what lessons am I going to be learning this week? It's so fun.
Well, I think it's great that you don't have as much internet. It'll be a good challenge for you.
Way to unplug. Yeah. Just what I wanted to do. Yes. Well, thank you guys. Have a great, great night. Love you, Deanna. Thank you so
Love
much.
you too.
All
All
right.
right,
Take
guys.
care.
Thank you.